These stars could win big bucks for a good cause.
Every challenge takes a study buddy, but only one celebrity can graduate from Nation's Dumbest. All new tomorrow on Fox.
Now, your primetime local news leader. Fox 22 News at 10.
A Guilford man has been charged with murder following a deadly assault in Guilford Sunday night that killed one person and seriously injured another. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Beth Jones. The suspect, Ryan Carlton, made his first court appearance in Piscataquis County today. Our Grace Blanchard starts us off tonight.
Following a deadly assault in Guilford, 49-year-old Ryan Carlton has been charged with one count of intentional or knowing murder and elevated aggravated assault with a dangerous weapon. On Sunday, authorities responded to 24 Pine Street for a well-being check. Moments later, police discovered a male and a female with serious injuries inside a neighboring residence. The man, identified in court documents as 63-year-old Brent Dorr, died from his injuries while being taken to the hospital. Authorities say the woman, 59-year-old Stephanie Dorr, remains in critical condition. According to a spokesperson for the Attorney General's office, Carlton was living with his mother at 24 Pine Street, directly next to the victim's house at 26 Pine Street. Officials said the first deputy on scene met Carlton outside the houses, walking from the Doors' home to his mother's house. He was arrested following the initial investigation.
It's scary, very terrifying. You don't want something like that to happen, and definitely makes me reconsider. We usually let our daughter go outside and just play, with the door open and stuff like that. We can keep an eye on her, but certainly not going to be happening anymore.
During his first court appearance Tuesday, Carlton's lawyer requested a competency test. State records show he was on probation after being sentenced in December of last year for assaulting an officer. He was also convicted of animal cruelty in 2021 for killing his father's cat with a frying pan. This latest case is being prosecuted by the DA's office. Carlton remains jailed without bail in Piscataquis County while awaiting a hearing. In Dover Foxcroft, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
A man charged with murder in the death of a Corinth man will spend 35 years in prison. 37-year-old Kenneth Creamer of Exeter pleaded guilty to the murder charge as well as drug trafficking. His sentence was part of a deal worked out with the state. Dylan Caruso was killed in Bangor in September 2024. His body was found a month later off a dirt road in Exeter. Court testimony revealed he was shot in the back of the head in Bangor and then transported to Exeter, where he was stabbed and a boulder was dropped on his body. According to court testimony, Caruso was shot because he owed Creamer $600 for drugs. And one of the other defendants charged in connection with the Caruso case was also in court today. 33-year-old Dylan Belanger of Corinth pleaded guilty to hindering apprehension and tampering with a witness. His sentencing has been postponed. It is contingent upon him continuing to cooperate with police and testifying at the trials for two other defendants. 5 people total were charged in connection with the death of 31-year-old Dylan Caruso. Well, Maine State Police are investigating a crash on I-95 involving a tractor trailer and a multi-vehicle chain reaction. It happened shortly before 4 o'clock this afternoon. Maine State Police say the initial investigation showed that a pickup truck hauling a trailer failed to yield the right-of-way while merging onto I-95 from Coldbrook Road. The trailer struck a utility truck in the travel lane. The crash forced the utility truck into another tractor trailer traveling in the passing lane. The utility truck and tractor trailer became entangled, crossed the median, and entered the southbound lanes. The pickup broke free and the driver steered it back onto the median, but the tractor trailer struck 2 vehicles traveling southbound. Miraculously, there were no reported injuries there. Well, switching gears now, with school right around the corner, student safety is top of mind, particularly after 2 Maine students were killed in school bus-related incidents last year. Our Alex Schley tells us what's being done this year to help keep kids safe.
Officials say since the 1960s, there have been 5 children killed in school bus-related accidents here in Maine. Safety officials are working to make sure that number doesn't grow. Tuesday, more than 250 school bus drivers from across central Maine came together at Bangor High School to prepare for the upcoming school year.
Annual bus driver training involves 17 different school districts. Their drivers are here, and we're covering topics like medical emergencies, proper procedures for pre-trip, post-trip, how to work with special needs students, and our last session we'll have somebody from the Bangor Police Department talking about interacting and liaisons with the police.
In addition to annual training, new safety measures are also being put into place.
So the state has made some changes, and they've added new equipment to the buses that we're supposed to retrofit as we go along, and there's a lot of training as far as the danger zone where most children get injured or killed.
Crossarms are just one of several new safety features being implemented in Maine buses. How it works is when the stop arm goes out, so does the crossarm, creating a barrier students must then navigate around, ensuring they stay far enough away from the bus that the driver always has them in sight. There are also new standards for how drivers should survey their surroundings before moving forward from a stop position.
5 seconds, and there are certain places that you need to look on the bus. Every second counts for something, and you're looking in your door, the side mirrors, and then you're focusing to the front, and you're leaving your red lights on so nobody's moving and everybody's making sure the children are safe in their dooryard.
With the added precautions, officials say they are hopeful Maine buses will have a safe and successful school year. In Bangor, Alex Schley for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Meanwhile, endorsements continue to roll in for political candidates. Today, Planned Parenthood Action Fund endorsed Matt Dunlap's campaign for Maine's 2nd Congressional District. Planned Parenthood called Dunlap a champion for reproductive health care, saying they are proud to endorse him as they believe he will defend Mainers' rights to decide what is best for their bodies and lives. They said, quote, if elected, he will fight against the efforts to defund Planned Parenthood and cut Medicaid, which have blocked Mainers from getting the care they need and led to health center closures throughout rural Maine, end quote. Dunlap adding that he will continue to protect reproductive health care access, saying in part, quote, Mainers deserve a congressman who will protect their right to choose. I'm in this race to fight for your reproductive freedom. We need to codify a constitutional right to choose to ensure every Mainer can decide what's best for their body, end quote. A drug addiction relief program in Waterville is celebrating 9 years of service to the community. Our Calvin White has more.
Since 2017, the Waterville Police Department has instilled a philosophy of education and treatment when it comes to dealing with drug addiction. For 9 years, Operation Hope, the heroin opiate prevention effort, has been in place at the Waterville Police Department, allowing citizens struggling with drug addiction the chance to seek help. Police Chief William Bonney says that Operation Hope is focused on making it known that there are avenues for recovery.
So we get out there, we're in the community, we're talking about this, always out talking to people who might need the program, offering services, trying to get them connected. And sometimes it takes multiple times before somebody's ready, but our goal is to meet people where they're at.
Bonney has been on the Waterville Police Force for 28 years. He introduced the Hope program to Waterville. Since then, he says the department has embraced a fully involved community effort.
Sort of the natural evolution of Operation Hope is what we call our community impact unit. So we have our community resource officer, who's a sworn police officer, our community outreach coordinator, who's a social worker, recovery coaches, and we work together regularly with the fire department and other service providers to try to make the community safer and healthier.
Bonney says that over the 9 years of Operation Hope, the program has impacted hundreds of lives in the Waterville area.
And since 2017, we've been able to help around 600 people get into treatment.
While Maine is still currently in the midst of an opioid crisis, according to Maine drug data, drug overdoses in the state have declined each year since 2019. So far this year, overdoses have fallen 9.5% since 2025. In Waterville, Calvin White, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
In other news tonight, one of the oldest libraries in Maine has relocated. The South China Public Library was created in the 1830s, and since then there's been a lot of change. So residents worked hard to fundraise for a new building, filled with books, gathering spaces, and even room to grow. Our Jody Hersey takes us there.
The South China community was shaped by Quakers who moved to the area in the 1800s. In fact, locals say it was the Quakers who first established the town's historic library on Village Street.
The old location had a lot of limitations. We did outgrow the building, but it was on a very tiny lot. There was no plumbing, there was no running water.
2 years ago, the all-volunteer staff and library board began fundraising to move this much-loved space physically and literally into the 21st century.
The part that we're in is new construction, and that opened in January of 2024. We also have a portable classroom, which is where the children's room and the meeting room are located.
The library is filled with over 10,000 books, including a section dedicated to its Quaker roots. There's also internet and a puzzle exchange for patrons to use.
When we have events, people linger afterwards, and it's like a big cocktail party, and it's really brought the community together.
We love to visit the library. The girls look forward to it every week.
Even though the South China Public Library has settled nicely into its new location on the Jones Road, volunteers say it's still in need of support and donations.
The tiny money we get from the town doesn't cover the lights and purchase of books and everything, so we're always fundraising, and somehow it just works.
In South China, I'm Jody Hersey for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
The library was definitely always one of my favorite places. Alrighty, folks, let's pause now and get a first look at our forecast.
All right, thank you. Look at us. High temperatures back in the 70s out there for us today after yesterday's 60s. But tomorrow, some 80s are back in the forecast into the weekend and beyond. The wind has gone calm across the area now. Some dense fog is likely in areas tonight, especially into tomorrow morning. Generally, though, the rain is now over, pushing off to the east of us. Behind it, there's a little system over here that could easily bring us a quick shower tomorrow. Most of us will stay dry. Behind that, high pressure builds in probably for a couple of days for us into the weekend and beyond. Our forecast time for tonight, though, is partly cloudy skies or decreasing clouds with low temperatures down near 60. Your full forecast is coming up.
And still to come on Fox 22 News at 10, we'll have headlines from around our state. Stay tuned.
Mainers work hard. Our leaders should too. Like Senator Susan Collins, who just cast her 10,000th vote.
The first senator in U.S. history to reach that mark without ever missing a vote.
Collins worked with Democrats to keep the Gulf of Maine open for our fishermen, kept our shipbuilders on the job with new funding, and Collins expanded health care for rural Mainers. No drama, just hard work and results. Call. Ask Senator Collins to keep working hard for Mainers.
Warning, entering keepsakes may cause extreme creativity. From gorgeous fabrics and cozy yarn to gifts you didn't know you needed, we've got it all. Dive into quilting, grab a sewing machine, or join a class and unleash your inner artist. Stick around for our mystery quilt projects if you love a good surprise. And yes, we have a fudge counter because crafting burns calories, right? Keepsakes, where your hobbies and your sweet tooth live happily ever after.
Here are the facts about Susan Collins and Medicaid. Susan Collins was the deciding vote to advance Donald Trump's Medicaid cuts.
Susan Collins was the deciding vote to advance the bill.
Now, thousands more Mainers are expected to lose their Medicaid coverage. Hospitals and clinics are shutting down, all to give massive tax breaks for billionaires. Look up the facts yourself and tell Susan Collins to stop voting for Trump's health care cuts.
When the morning light hits Maine, start your day with a good morning, Maine. Craig Colson, Janessa Bishop, by your side, bringing the stories that matter statewide. Local news and the forecast ahead. Wake up informed, ready to go on ABC 7 and Fox 22.
Following Following up on a hearing Monday in southern Maine, Congressional District 1 Representative Shelley Pingree called for accountability in the shooting of a young father in Biddeford by an ICE officer. According to Pingree, the target was someone else entirely. Our Callie Warren joins us live with more on that. Callie, what new details did Pingree reveal?
Beth, Pingree reiterated in that hearing that 25-year-old Colombian national Johann Sebastian Duran Guerrero was not who ICE was targeting. Pingree says, in fact, it was his roommate that ICE officers were looking for. The roommate was the owner of the car that Duran Guerrero was driving when he was shot and killed by ICE. Pingree said Guerrero did not have a final removal order, but he did have a valid work permit in the U.S. and a pending asylum case. Guerrero was shot and killed by an Immigration and Customs Enforcement agent near his Biddeford home in a car on July 13th. Pingree called that discovery a shocking revelation and clear contradiction to what ICE and the U.S. Department of Homeland Security have said about the shooting.
More than 1 month later, there are still so many basic questions about what happened that remained unanswered by ICE and the Trump administration. We are here to examine the circumstances of that tragic morning in July and the enforcement policies that brought armed federal agents into our quiet communities in the first place, and whether ICE has even a basic understanding of the people it's targeting.
The Department of Homeland Security released a statement to the Associated Press on this matter, saying that ICE conducted, quote, targeted surveillance on the last known address of an illegal alien with a final order of removal. We are not going to disclose law enforcement sensitive intelligence and methods. Nowhere did we state that Johann Sebastian Duran Guerrero or his roommate were the target of the operation, end quote. During that hearing, Pingree expressed concern regarding ICE tactics and information in light of this incident.
How is ICE deciding who to target and detain in Maine? What information are its agents relying on? And is anyone checking whether that information is complete or even correct?
Duran Guerrero's shooting is still under investigation by the Maine Attorney General's office. He is survived by his parents, partner, and daughter. Several other prominent state Democrats continue to be vocal about this shooting and their concerns about ICE in the state. In studio, Callie Warren, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News. Beth, back to you.
Callie, thank you for those details. After 7 months of being detained by ICE, an asylum seeker from Brazil is back home with his family in Maine. Marcos Gaspar da Silva was on his way to work when ICE agents took him into custody in January during Operation Catch of the Day. He says he was in this country legally, and today Brad Rogers sat down with Marcos and his wife.
Marcos Gaspar da Silva and wife Alessia are celebrating their anniversary today, days after ICE agents released him from an Arizona detention facility where he was held for 7 months. He told us about one overcrowded facility in Mesa, Arizona.
It's supposed to be for 25 people, but always it's over 50, 48, and we cannot even sleep on the floor all together.
Did ICE pressure you to leave the country?
Yeah, always the mask. Sign for deportation, it's better, it's more quickly because some people stay over here for a long time.
He still doesn't know where in Arizona he spent the last 6 months behind bars, where he says he had to buy bottled water with money his wife sent because it was unsafe to drink.
It was eye-opening to me of just how broken and corrupt our administration is. You know, I was born here. My grandfather fought for the things that we are seeing in our streets now. He went over and protected others, and now my own country is doing that.
It is meant to be cruel.
The founder of Lake Region Indivisible had volunteers ready to help the Gaspar da Silva family any way they could, while Alessia's husband went through 7 months of separation and trauma.
I mean, think about it. He was in a survival mode in a prison, not knowing if the next day he was going to be sent back to Brazil or some other country.
Amy Strum was in Congresswoman Shelley Pingree's ear, knowing with her help, Marcos would have a better chance of being released.
She and her office helped immensely.
Marcos told us even though he's free, he feels no joy, no happiness. Even walking in the park with a green card, he fears ICE agents may return.
When I'm inside the house, I feel safe, but the outside, I'm not.
He's been conditioned to just accept everything for the past 7 months.
And that was Brad Rogers reporting there. Well, with the school year right around the corner, some towns in RSU 10 are holding a meeting to discuss the possibility of withdrawing from that school district. 3 of the 7 towns in the district are looking to make that move. Julia Simone explains when this process started.
This is for the kids, and I'm really scared about this.
The towns are in a 22-step process to withdraw from RSU 10. They say they're currently at step 8. It includes drafting a formal agreement between the withdrawal committees in each town and the RSU 10 Board of Directors. The agreement must meet certain requirements under state law, including division of district assets and liabilities, transportation, staffing needs, and more. But many students and parents say they don't want this to go through.
By pulling out of the district, our school programs that already lacked funding will suffer even more, limiting your children to the learning opportunities they have.
The new district's proposed budget is over $11 million. They say the withdrawal will help gain local control over education and resources and lower cost. While the district says teachers' salaries won't be cut if the proposal went through, some students are still concerned.
If this withdrawal is accepted and goes through, it means that many of our teachers will probably leave because of their increased workload and the lessened resources available to students.
With the question heading to the ballot in November, the decision will be in the hands of voters in the 3 towns. If the withdrawal is approved, the new district will be in effect July 1st of next year. If it's not approved, the towns will stay in RSU 10.
Unfortunately, I've come to expect at least a small increase every year in my property taxes. But this would just be too much.
Coming up on the 10 p.m. news on Fox 22, we have your national headlines. Don't go anywhere.
At Old Town Redemption Center, we are always ready to help with any fundraisers or bottle drives. We are here to help our community. Like and follow us on Facebook for upcoming weekly holiday giveaways and our monthly $100 drawing.
You don't get to buy the government that you want.
But let's look at what Troy Jackson did. Because Troy Jackson likes to keep it in the family. When Jackson was state Senate president, his son was one of the highest paid lobbyists in town. Special interests paid his son, and Jackson changed his positions. Was it a coincidence, or was something corrupt? Troy Jackson is just another dirty politician. SLF PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Need a driveway paved or an entire road surfaced? Give Eaton Paving and Excavation a call. Eaton Paving offers a full line of excavation packages, from new home projects to new and replacement septics and driveways. We also install new shoreland and do shoreland repairs. Our operators have more than 75 years combined experience, and we have been delivering quality, professional service for nearly 3 decades. We strive to exceed your expectations. Give us a call today at 207-348-5630 or visit us at eatonpaving.com.
He put his life on the line for his country. Senator Susan Collins isn't forgetting him or any of our veterans. She's delivered millions in federal funding to improve housing for veterans across Maine and provide housing vouchers to make sure Maine veterans have a place to call home. She's also worked tirelessly to provide the quality mental health care our veterans deserve. Call and tell Senator Collins to keep fighting for our veterans.
At Old Town Redemption Center, we are always ready to help with any fundraisers or bottle drives. We are here to help our community. Like and follow us on Facebook for upcoming weekly holiday giveaways and our monthly $100 drawing.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
President Trump says there are no talks or conversations with Iranian officials aimed at ending the almost 6-month conflict. A 60-day window for a broader solution has now expired, but the president insists the Strait of Hormuz is open and operating. Fox's senior White House correspondent Peter Ducey reports from the White House.
The Iranians are running out of assets and options.
Now President Trump wants leaders in Tehran
to twist in the wind, announcing there are no talks or conversations going on or scheduled with the Islamic Republic of Iran. The naval blockade remains in full force and effect. The Hormuz Strait is open and operating. All water mines have been removed or detonated. That's different than this.
The conversations between the U.S. government and different areas of the Iranian government at all areas is probably more robust than it's maybe ever been.
Sources tell Fox there's no Trump-Kushner contradiction and that the president wants his team not to engage until Iran is ready to make a deal. While he waits, the president is posting a new map of the Strait of Hormuz marked as new U.S. territory.
I like the idea of declaring it a territory.
The latest hurdle, according to the Institute for the Study of War, IRGC commander Major General Ahmad Vahidi and his inner circle would likely accept a deal with the United States if the United States surrendered to the regime's demands. Vahidi's actions suggest that Vahidi and his faction are unlikely to accept a deal that falls short, even if failing to reach an agreement would risk renewed conflict.
The Islamic Republic of Iran is prepared in proportion to the enemy's actions and aggression to inflict an even heavier defeat than before.
That's why the Iranians are now eager to shift the battlefield away from nuclear sites and to the Strait.
The Iranians haven't backed off their original demands, and in fact, they're making more audacious demands.
It is unclear how long officials here are going to let this pause in peace talks with Iran go. If it's just going to be a few days, or if it might be long enough to get people talking about something else before the midterms. At the White House, Peter Ducey, Fox News.
Lindsay Clancy's murder trial continued today with the defense calling multiple witnesses to the stand. Her former mother-in-law was among those testifying and told the court Lindsay was, quote, begging for help in the months after childbirth. Fox's Brian Yennis has more from Plymouth, Massachusetts.
The defense continuing its case in the murder trial of Lindsay Clancy, the Massachusetts woman accused of killing her 3 children. Her attorney argues she was suffering from postpartum psychosis, made worse by over-medication, and should not be held criminally responsible. Taking the stand Tuesday, Dr. Donald Conde, a child and adult psychiatrist. He did not treat Lindsay, but reviewed her medical records, which stated she was experiencing brain fog and dizziness, symptoms of postpartum illness.
These are sometimes symptoms that people who are experiencing postpartum depression frequently complain about.
Well, it's not what they're complaining about, it's what they're living, right?
It is a very unpleasant experience.
Earlier, Lindsay's former mother-in-law, Susan Clancy, testified that Lindsay was a devoted mother who was struggling after giving birth to her youngest son.
She was losing her appetite. She was very anxious and sad.
Prosecutors have argued Lindsay was sane and intentionally killed her children. During cross-examination, they said Lindsay's symptoms appeared 5 months after childbirth, suggesting it was too late to be postpartum illness.
You're a labor and delivery nurse. You know the postpartum period could be up to a year, right?
I've heard it could be longer.
But generally, it's within the first 12 weeks that you start to see some symptoms.
I don't know.
If found not criminally responsible, Lindsay Clancy would be committed to a state psychiatric hospital in Plymouth, Massachusetts. Brian Yennis, Fox News.
The Trump administration said Monday that it is temporarily pausing construction of a controversial border construction project in the Big Bend National Park. The pause comes following heavy backlash over the use of bulldozers and excavation machinery in the protected area, along with lawsuits and bipartisan criticism from opponents who argue it could damage the park's landscape, wildlife, and cultural sites. Federal officials say they're balancing border security needs with protecting one of the nation's most treasured natural areas. It is unclear at this time when or if the pause will be lifted. And tonight, police making a shocking discovery on the Penn State University campus, showing 2 major fraternities tied to a multi-state drug trafficking ring. More than a dozen arrests have been made so far, and the investigation is still ongoing. Fox's Caroline Elliott has the latest.
From frat pledge to possible prison time, Pennsylvania police say fraternities were behind a complex drug trafficking ring at Penn State.
This goes beyond
just some students making bad decisions, right? This is a full organized crime enterprise that crosses multiple states.
Prosecutors busted 14 past and current fraternity brothers accused of spending thousands of dollars on cocaine, cutting up the drug, and transporting it to multiple states. Police also found the operation was part of alleged initiation practices done right on campus and the Sigma Chi and Delta Epsilon frat houses.
The evidence showed that cocaine was primarily packaged at the fraternity houses and that packaging was done by fraternity brothers and oftentimes pledges.
Police say these two students were at the top of the drug operation that went on for nearly 2 years. Agostino Abatiello, who became known as the largest cocaine dealer for Penn State students, and Thomas Robinson, whose dad also allegedly helped out in the operation.
The only non-student charge is Thomas Robinson's father, Paul Robinson, who we allege took steps to conceal evidence, including a safe containing drugs and cash, and obstruct this investigation.
The investigation is ongoing with all 14 suspects facing felony charges, and so far, Penn State has suspended one of the fraternities tied to this case. In New York, Caroline Elliott, Fox News.
Storm Lala has moved away from Hawaii, but it's left behind widespread damage. Thousands are still without electricity, and some communities have been cut off due to damaged roads and bridges. Fox's Tonya J. Powers has more.
Days after Lala pummeled Hawaii as a Category 1 hurricane, cleanup efforts are just getting underway. Tuesday morning, more than 73,000 people remained without power, down from some 200,000 at the height of the storm.
The winds were really strong that you could feel it through our walls, you could feel our house shaking.
Lala avoided making direct landfall, but wind gusts as strong as 80 miles per hour knocked down trees and tore roofs from buildings. The National Weather Service says rain fell at a rate of 3 to 5 inches per hour at times, flooding roads and cutting off access to a major highway.
Out here usually gets flooded, but not like this.
Hawaiian officials say around 100 homes on the Big Island were swept from their foundations, and they warn potential landslides could further isolate communities in the coming days.
Currently, there's some communities that are isolated. We continue search and rescue missions throughout those communities, and we'll continue to do until we have clear that every area has been searched.
The storm also caused temporary airport closures and forced Hawaiian and Alaskan Airlines to cancel flights. On Monday, some visitors say they waited hours to get the next flight home.
We're on our honeymoon. We were supposed to take the 10 a.m. flight this morning, but we found out this morning it was canceled.
Hawaiian officials are asking the Trump administration to approve an upcoming request for emergency funding to clear debris and repair damaged roads and highways. In New York, Tonya J. Powers, Fox News.
And just ahead, we have more of your national news.
Jamie Foxx and Beat Shazam are back. $1 million. Can you beat Shazam? Beat Shazam, all new Tuesdays at 9 on Fox.
I went to work in the woods after high school. The harder we worked, the more that the companies took from us. That's why we organized. We made them listen. People are doing everything they can right and still cannot get ahead. Susan Collins keeps telling us everything is just fine. Who has she served? She has served Donald Trump. She has served the billionaires. She has served herself. We are getting screwed, and I'm running to change that.
Government that works PAC's responsible for the content of this ad.
Mounjaro for type 2 diabetes.
Going up?
Actually, I'm going down.
Yeah, me too. My A1C is under 7%.
Mounjaro?
You know it.
My man.
Hey. Ouch. Since I started taking Mounjaro for my type 2 diabetes, I'm a bit of a Mounjaro magnet.
I lowered my A1C and I lost some weight. Check out my pants.
I'm good. Never a dull moment.
With Mounjaro, 3 out of 4 adults reached an A1C under 7% and maintained it. And some lost up to 25 pounds. Like this gal right here.
Nice, Mom.
Don't take Mounjaro if you're allergic to it, or if you or someone in your family had medullary thyroid cancer or multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2. Stop and call your doctor right away if you have an allergic reaction, a lump or swelling in your neck, severe stomach pain, or vision changes. Serious side effects may include inflamed pancreas and gallbladder problems. Taking Mounjaro with a sulfonylurea or insulin may cause low blood sugar. Tell your doctor if you're nursing, pregnant, plan to be, or taking birth control pills. And before scheduled procedures with anesthesia. Side effects include nausea, diarrhea, and vomiting, which can cause dehydration and may cause kidney problems.
Hey, Mom, what do you say we take the stairs?
Stairs is a great idea.
Ask your doctor about once weekly Mounjaro, paid partnership with Lilly.
I got hurt by a big truck. Why did I call the twos? Because life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. We got a client who broke multiple bones in a commercial vehicle accident, $700,000. Call the twos. We win for you.
A landmark social media trial against Meta is now underway. Parents are accusing the tech giant of designing its platforms to be addictive and harmful to children. Fox's Caroline Elliott again with that story from New York.
Big tech is facing off with 29 states in what's being called the largest consumer protection trial in American history.
Social media is the threat to our kids. It's the opioid fight of our generation.
This case goes beyond the question of whether social media is good or bad for kids. It's about whether Meta, the tech giant behind Facebook and Instagram, intentionally designed its products to become addictive for kids.
Those very basic questions about what Meta knew and whether it was honest and truthful in what it relayed.
29 states have joined the lawsuit, with California, Colorado, Kentucky, and New Jersey taking the lead. The states claim Meta used addictive features to keep young users coming back regardless of the cost.
Coco was 12, when she opened Instagram for the first time. By her teen, she could not look away. The scrolling became depression, then anxiety she could not escape.
The states also claim Meta broke federal laws by collecting and using children's personal data without parental consent. Meta denied these claims, saying, quote, "We stand by our record of creating strong protections for teens and look forward to making our case in court."
I think that one of the big battles that we're going to have is where that personal and family responsibility comes in.
And the potential payout could be anywhere from $200 billion to over $1 trillion in damages. And the states are asking the judge to ban some of Meta's basic features like infinite scrolling. And New York, Caroline Elliott, Fox News.
Meanwhile, Disney is suing the government. The company's ABC network has sued the FCC, alleging the agency's efforts to challenge its broadcast licenses and regulate daytime talk show The View are illegal. ABC is asking a federal court for a temporary restraining order and preliminary injunction to halt the FCC's license renewal process. The FCC launched an early license renewal review for ABC's 8 local stations and is probing whether The View qualifies for an exception. Legendary rock drummer Frank Beard has died. The hard-shuffling drummer, best known as being one-third of the classic group ZZ Top, passed away Monday while in hospice care at his ranch in Richmond, Texas. The exact cause of his death has not been released. Beard has dealt with a series of unspecified health issues in recent years. The percussionist contributed the tempos and beats to iconic ZZ Top tunes such as Sharp Dressed Man, Tush, and Gimme All Your Lovin'. The band was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2004. Beard's death succeeds that of ZZ Top Dusty Hill, who died in 2021. Frank Beard was 77 years old.
We're lucky to live in Maine. We have a wealth of natural resources, hardworking people, and time for the things that matter. Mechanical Services is all about Maine, with energy efficiency that protects our environment and helps businesses grow. Preventive maintenance and energy solutions that save money. How Maine is that? Mechanical Services. We're everywhere you are in Maine.
You don't get to buy the government that you want.
But let's look at what Troy Jackson did. Because Troy Jackson likes to keep it in the family. When Jackson was state Senate president, his son was one of the highest paid lobbyists in town. Special interests paid his son, and Jackson changed his positions. Was it a coincidence? Or was something corrupt? Troy Jackson is just another dirty politician. SLF PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
At Toyota's national sales event, we've got a long lineup of vehicles for summer fun, like Camry, RAV4, Grand Highlander, BZ, Tundra, Corolla Hybrid, 4Runner, CHR, Corolla Hatchback, BZ Woodland, Prius, Corolla Cross, Land Cruiser, Tacoma, Toyota Crown, GR Supra.
Now, from the longest-lasting brand, you could get 4.99% financing on a fuel-sipping all-wheel drive Camry Hybrid with an up to 650-mile total driving range.
Come in today.
Toyota, let's go places.
He put his life on the line for his country. Senator Susan Collins isn't forgetting him or any of our veterans. She's delivered millions in federal funding to improve housing for veterans across Maine and provide housing vouchers to make sure Maine veterans have a place to call home. She's also worked tirelessly to provide the quality mental health care our veterans deserve. Call and tell Senator Collins to keep fighting for our veterans.
DeChambeau, Rom, and the stars of Live tee it up in Indianapolis. Live Golf, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday on Fox.
Here we go. Patriot General Contractors, 207-502-4330. Let's talk weather out there for today. The dog days of summer are here. A nice rebound in temperatures for sure today. Yesterday, 60s, today, 70s. Tomorrow, we do have some 80s back in the forecast tomorrow. And also probably for Thursday into Friday as well. 79 here in Bangor today, 77 Millinocket, 76 Bar Harbor. It's comfortable, but it's going to get even warmer tomorrow, but not humid yet. That comes in here basically on Thursday into Friday. Around the country, temperatures are still hot for everybody, or at least most locations, right? 107 Oklahoma City today, 104 in Dallas. Meanwhile, some cooler temperatures are sitting right there, but they're going to stay there for now. We're going to hang out above average probably into the weekend with those high temperatures hanging out near 80. So again, tomorrow, 82. Also for Thursday, near there for Friday into Saturday. Some rain-cooled 70s, though, are back in the forecast for Sunday afternoon. All right, the wind out there, not doing much tonight. Gone calm already across our area, and likely tomorrow maybe around 5 miles per hour or so. So some dense fog is likely across the area again tonight. If you're out driving, 4, 5, 6 a.m., watch out for scenes like this across the region, as that dense fog will be in the area tonight. So we've said goodbye to the rain showers for a while, although there could be a sprinkle in the air tomorrow. Most of us will not see that. A much better chance for rain does get in here on Sunday, and we could use the rain. Here's where it's been dry pretty much the entire state. Levels 1, 2, and 3 drought across the area now. There is some rainfall, though, in the 5-day forecast. Not for tonight, though. That's now done. Lots of partly cloudy skies for tonight. Some dense fog is likely late. A little system over here. This is going to swing through tomorrow. It's progressive. It's moving, but it could easily give us a quick shower throughout the afternoon for like 10 minutes, and it'll be done. Behind that, high pressure does build in for a couple days. Behind that, though, on Sunday, we likely have some rain showers back in the forecast for us on Sunday. I'm going to run this through Sunday morning, so look at this. A 1/10 of an inch of rain at best if it comes across the area for tomorrow. Beyond this, though, we could easily see a quarter, a half inch or so of rainfall later on Sunday into Monday of next week. So going forward, we have some clearing skies out there for us tonight. Some 80s return, though, for us for tomorrow and also Thursday into Friday. And then a wet weekend, not Saturday, more so Sunday, with some much needed rainfall back in the forecast then. Our forecast then for tonight, though, is partly cloudy skies or decreasing clouds. Some dense fog is likely with low temperatures down near 61 for tomorrow. Partly cloudy, a late day sprinkle can't be ruled out. Highs back near 82 tomorrow, and a southwest breeze around 5. Then looking ahead, your 5-day forecast shows a very nice temperature trend here. 82 for Thursday, Friday 81. We're dry Thursday, dry Friday, dry Saturday, but then rain showers are back in the forecast Sunday. Some of that rain could be locally heavy Sunday night into Monday morning.
Thank you so much, Jeff. Sports is next. Don't go anywhere.
30 years living that Washington, D.C. lifestyle. That'll change a person. Getting rich from insider stock trading should be illegal. But Susan Collins doesn't think so. Susan Collins wants to keep it so senators can play the stock market, make millions of dollars doing that. Why we struggle to pay for gas, groceries, health insurance, the basics. For them to get all that money, why we're paying more, it's not right. It's not right. Tell Susan Collins to stop this congressional stock trade.
People ask me all the time, does Lowry & Associates really get all of those clients, all of those big settlements? Yes, we do. And you know what else is true? I really am standing on top of this big truck.
I went to work in the woods after high school. The harder we worked, the more that the companies took from us. That's why we organized. We made them listen. People are doing everything they can right and still cannot get ahead. Susan Collins keeps telling us everything is just fine. Who has she served? She has served Donald Trump. She has served the billionaires. She has served herself. We are getting screwed, and I'm running to change that.
Government that Works PAC's responsible for the content of this ad.
Troy Jackson likes to keep it in the family. When Jackson was Senate president, his son was one of the highest paid lobbyists in town. Special interests paid his son, and Jackson changed his positions. Just another dirty politician. SLF PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
One weekend, one city. This is history in the making.
Welcome back in, folks. In the closing weeks before the start of the 2026 football season, the Maine Black Bears have finally named a starting quarterback. Armac Sturm has the story.
After weeks of practice and discussion, the Maine football team has named a starting quarterback for the 2026 season. And that man will be redshirt sophomore Eddie Bueller.
I couldn't be more happy. We got a great group. It's an honor to lead these guys. It was a hard competition, two other great quarterbacks, and I just am honored to have this opportunity.
We're excited that he's going to be leading us, and have full belief in him, and excited to see him out there next week. A lot of work to get done between now and then, but I think he's off to a great start.
The decision to name Bueller QB1 came down to not only his on-field intangibles.
He's accurate. He can extend plays with his legs. He can run. When he gets downhill, he's fast. He can eat up ground.
But also how he holds himself and his team accountable as a leader.
Just a vocal presence. I mean, his work ethic is tremendous. He wants to lead, and he's active in trying to lead. And that's something that we've seen, since winter workouts.
Bueller says he's worked hard to become a fierce leader, and that having the trust of his team directly correlates to his on-field play.
I value connection. All the guys, they got to love you on and off the field. You got to be a guy that's the same guy off the field as on it. And I think that when I'm on the field, they all have to trust me, and it becomes with my play as well. They have to trust that I'm the best guy for the job, and I think that I grew as a leader this offseason by just building the connection with everyone on the team.
Those connections have seemingly paid off, as both offensive and defensive players alike are extremely confident in what he brings to the table.
Eddie is a great pick because I've seen his drive, his competition, and also that he's a great leader of this team. And I have full faith in him, and I think he's going to do great things for this football team this year.
Eddie's a great guy. He's a great leader, and his on-the-field traits show as well. And I'm excited to have him. Me and Eddie real close, just off the field, on the field, and I'm excited.
He wants to be the starting quarterback here at Maine. He loves his team and loves his teammates, so it's hard not to get behind that.
Bueller will take his first snap as the Black Bears QB1 on August 27th versus Townsend. In Orono, Max Sturm, ABC 7 and Fox 22 Sports.
Thank you for that, Max. Staying with Maine Athletics, we have an exciting announcement on Sunday, September 6th at 11 a.m. Fox 22 will be broadcasting the Maine field hockey team's game against Davidson University live from Orono. Make sure to tune in. You won't want to miss that electric Maine field hockey action. The Red Sox have won 2 straight over the Diamondbacks, and reinforcements could be on the way with Roman Anthony and Trevor Story both beginning rehab assignments on Tuesday. Roman made his return to Hadlock Field down in Portland and picked up right where he left off a few summers ago. 2 for 2 with 2 walks, including a bomb over the right field wall and out of the stadium. As you see this beautiful lefty swing right here on your screen, here was the Sox young star after the game.
I was saying, I think that was the swing that I was the most impressed with today. Just going out and getting it, and hitting it where it's pitched, and that I was happy about that. Taking the walks, hitting that one the other way, knowing that it's still in there. So it was good. Like I said, after that, felt very comfortable. Saw a lot of pitches, and then used the other side of the field, and that's when I feel like I'm at my best is when I'm going that way. So.
Story, however, went 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. I guess I spoiled it earlier, but the Sox were in action against the Diamondbacks on Tuesday night, taking on the D-backs. Sox up 3-0 in the third, but with the bases loaded, Gabriel Monero blasts one into the top of the monster, and that's a grand slam. What a turn of events in the third, but just half an inning later, newly acquired catcher Adley Rutschman, he's going to turn on a high heater for his first home run in a Sox uniform. He had his best game so far as a Red Sox, 2 for 3 with a homer and a walk. And then shortly after, it's going to be Mickey Gasper, the character born well out after his time with that mustache. He blasts a solo shot to dead center to put the Red Sox up 7-4. That was power. This time it's finesse. Gasper in the 7th. He's going to drop one into shallow left center field to drive in another run as the Red Sox will go on to win this ball game 9-4. That's 2 straight. They've won 2 of their last 3. Finally tonight, some sad news out of Bristol, Connecticut, as Bill Rasmussen has passed away, the sports fan turned broadcaster and entrepreneur whose out-of-the-box idea of a 24-hour cable sports network, ESPN, changed forever the landscape of sports media, passed away from the effects of Parkinson's disease at the age of 93. ESPN chairman Jimmy Pitaro says in a statement, quote, "Simply none of us would be here today if it wasn't for Bill's passion and all the hard work and entrepreneurial spirit he put into building ESPN in the late 1970s, key aspects of our company culture that still carry on to this day." For now, that's all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Disturbing news about threats of violence against women. Is it Graham Plattner again? No, it's Troy Jackson. When a female legislator disagreed with Jackson, he threw a water bottle at her in anger. The woman was deeply frightened. Jackson was known for bullying, and his screaming felt like intentional intimidation. His brash conduct with women raised alarm bells about his temperament. Troy Jackson, another phony we can't trust. Pine Tree Results PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Around here, you take pride in your home, and who you trust to work on it matters. That's why folks turn to AF&F Carpentry. From kitchens and custom woodwork to full home renovations, we bring military-grade discipline and focus to every project. Our work has been featured on Operation CEO. No shortcuts, no surprises, just solid craftsmanship you can count on. AF&F Carpentry, serving Maine homeowners with pride.
Do you have a wet basement, nasty crawl space, settling foundation, sinking concrete, or clogged gutters? I'm Tony Hafford with TC Hafford Basement Systems, all things basement-y. For over 30 years, thousands of homeowners throughout Maine and southeastern New Hampshire have trusted TC Hafford. Basement waterproofing, crawl space repair, stabilizing foundations, concrete leveling, and gutter installation. Call TC Hafford Basement Systems for all things basement-y.
He put his life on the line for his country. Senator Susan Collins isn't forgetting him or any of our veterans. She's delivered millions in federal funding to improve housing for veterans across Maine and provide housing vouchers to make sure Maine veterans have a place to call home. She's also worked tirelessly to provide the quality mental health care our veterans deserve. Call and tell Senator Collins to keep fighting for our veterans.
Ready to create your backyard oasis? Alexander's Professional Landscaping will work with you to create your perfect outdoor space. Work one-on-one with our landscape designer to create a unique garden to fit your family's personal aesthetics and lifestyle. Have our pros install your new lawn, garden, or patio. Schedule a consultation today by calling 573-4497. Alexander's Professional Landscaping, the way landscaping should be.
This fall, everyone's favorite small-town doc is back.
The level of stupidity in this town can never be overestimated.
Best Medicine premieres September 22nd on Fox.
It's that time of year again. Kids are heading back to class, but the transition from summer break to back to school could lead to stress and anxiety for some of those kiddos. Fox's Arthur Chien has more.
You're 9, are you ready for school to start up again?
No.
Amariana is just 9 years old, and her parents say she is a great student. But with school just around the corner, she's not happy about it, and she is not alone.
I don't think it's necessarily the schoolwork. I think it's just the newness of the kids and teachers.
Like Amariana, a lot of kids feel the emotional weight of starting school back up this time of year. New schools, having to make new friends or be in new friend groups, and additional pressures from social media are all factors that experts say add up and create stress and anxiety. Even parenting experts have seen the signs in their own kids.
So there's like little ways that like maybe the kid is trying to tell you like they're feeling anxious without actually coming out and saying it.
Childhood experts say the time to start addressing back to school issues is now, before school actually begins.
Going back to that sleep schedule, you may want to start practicing that morning routine.
And like with Amariana, it's about letting them know they are safe and that learning builds a bright future for them.
The learning process for you, right, is a little too much. Sometimes you say that, but it's okay. She'll be all right.
Is there any advice that you give her?
I always just tell her just stay alarmed, stay alert, just go to school.
In addition to taking those smart steps like getting your child back into their school sleeping routine, but now the experts say also look out for signs. And if your child continues to look withdrawn or stressed, to not hesitate to call the school counselor.
Well, finally tonight, since 2015, the Levant Fire Department has held an annual event that trains children in hands-on firefighting skills and bears an adorable logo. Our Sam Miller tells us that the logo was born out of the community rebounding following a devastating tragedy.
For over a decade, the Levant Fire Department has hosted its annual Spark Pug Junior Academy, a 3-day camp where a select few 4th graders get to experience the ins and outs of being a firefighter. The program was created after a tragic fire that claimed the life of a 9-year-old child in July of 2015. In an effort to turn grief into community education, the department adopted a pug puppy that was rescued from the blaze as their mascot and developed an acronym based on safety.
We developed the plan of plan, understand, get out, so we use pug as our main term, and then that created Spark Pug Academy.
Okay, now stop and go! On Tuesday, the children got into their fire suits and competed in a time trial hands-on obstacle course, which put their skills to the test as they navigated a simulated firefighting situation.
There you go.
Levant Junior firefighter and Academy lead instructor Brady DeWitt says it's incredible to see how engaged the children are through this process.
It's amazing to me because as a kid I didn't have that opportunity, but them learning shows us that we have faith that we can see future kids coming up here and that the fire service isn't going to die out.
The children also received a visit from the Maine Air National Guard Fire and Rescue. They learned about how the ANG responds to community fires and got to demonstrate how they put them out. Campers say the program is a perfect blend of education and having fun.
If you go through this program, you can learn all this stuff while having fun, so it makes it easier.
The department continues to build an impactful legacy in the aftermath of the tragedy. In Levant, Sam Miller, ABC 7, and Fox 22 News.
Say Marines! Perfect. Good picture.
That's our next generation of firefighters right there, folks. Alrighty, well, that is going to do it for us. From everyone here at Fox 22 News, take care and have a great rest of your night, and we'll see you tomorrow.
For more local news coverage, switch over to our sister station, ABC 7, right now for ABC 7 News at 11.
stars could win big bucks for a good cause. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? New tomorrow.
911, what's your emergency?
A tornado. It's coming right at us.
We form a bond stronger than blood, because ours is a family forged in fire.
You're trying to steal my husband. You stole him first.
This is ABC 7 News at 11.
A Guilford